pausing is like the worst thing that you could possibly do. So we decided, okay, we're going to make mistakes, and we know that we have limited bandwidth to work really quickly, but this is when billion-dollar businesses are born. This is when million-dollar ideas are made.
Co-founder Tinsley Merrill says her team switched gears when gatherings were first limited down to 100 people. Sticking to the spirit of their startup, they had their first live interactive event planned in 72 hours.
Especially as people start meeting on Zoom with their companies, they're working remote, it's going to be a different way of life when companies realize we can save a lot of money by actually having our employees work remote, and they're able to do it. And I think we're seeing the same thing with experiences.
Pausing is like the worst thing that you could possibly do. So we decided, okay, we're going to make mistakes, and we know that we have limited bandwidth to work really quickly, but this is when billion-dollar businesses are born. This is when million-dollar ideas are made.
Co-founder Tinsley Merrill says her team switched gears when gatherings were first limited down to 100 people. Sticking to the spirit of their startup, they had their first live interactive event planned in 72 hours.
Especially as people start meeting on Zoom with their companies, they're working remote, it's going to be a different way of life when companies realize we can save a lot of money by actually having our employees work remote, and they're able to do it. And I think we're seeing the same thing with experiences.
Pausing is like the worst thing that you could possibly do. So we decided, okay, we're going to make mistakes, and we know that we have limited bandwidth to work really quickly, but this is when billion-dollar businesses are born. This is when million-dollar ideas are made.
Co-founder Tinsley Merrill says her team switched gears when gatherings were first limited down to 100 people. Sticking to the spirit of their startup, they had their first live interactive event planned in 72 hours.
Especially as people start meeting on Zoom with their companies, they're working remote, it's going to be a different way of life when companies realize we can save a lot of money by actually having our employees work remote, and they're able to do it. And I think we're seeing the same thing with experiences.
Popcorn.
Hi, good morning. We are live, guys. We are live. First of all, welcome everyone. If you are watching, we are live. This is our third episode of the Just Langgar podcast. All right. We have an exciting show for today. And as we all know, because of the whole COVID-19 and the whole MCO, people are panicking, artists are making noises, SMEs are wondering what's going on, employees are basically thinking, are they going to get jobs and all that. I think it's a very uncertain time nowadays, isn't it? Right, Nina? What do you think about this?
Very uncertain,
Yeah.
definitely. So that's, in fact, is what we're going to be diving in today's episode in Just Langgar. How can we pivot quickly in the wake of COVID-19? So everybody, hi, I'm Nina.
And I'm Amin, right? And together with us, who do we have with us, Nina?
So we have Denis in the house, Denis Oakley.
Okay.
Now,
She's muted.
You're muted, Nina.
Okay, so I've been talking and nobody's I was muted.
That's why we call it Just Langgar Show, right?
Okay, anyway, so basically, hi, I'm Nina, and welcome to the Just Langgar Show. So today we're going to be talking about how we can pivot quickly in the wake of COVID-19. Now, to answer this, we will be joined by Denis. I think you can see him online. He's the head of business model innovation, Denis Oakley and Company. Now, Denis helps blind businesses see. He helps business leaders transform businesses when the business environment has changed, such as the one we're in right now. And he helps them chart a path forward. So most importantly, Denis has recently helped turn around his client startup, Savor of Life, from loss to profit making in the wake of the movement constraint order. So he's an experienced business innovator and a mentor with 500 startups, Magic, WBS, and he's helped startups and businesses by providing strategic advice and consultancy that are expanding throughout Southeast Asia. So without further ado, please welcome Denis.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Al-Amien. Great to be here. I'm really excited because I get to talk about my favourite things, which is how to transform businesses for the next half an hour. And hopefully I'm going to be able to give you some great tips that you're going to be able to take back to your own businesses and make a difference and lead the fight back against COVID-19.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Okay, so first things first, can we talk about Savor of Life? And what is their business? When did they start? Because they actually launched their business just before the COVID pandemic, right? And what was your role and what happened when this whole pandemic situation broke?
So a few years ago, I was working with Damakan and I was the operations manager. I grew them from 300 meals a day to about 1,500 meals a day. Yeah. So Savor of Life sort of came along to me at the end of last year and said, right, okay, we've got a few sales, but we haven't got the operational chops to get it growing. So back in early January, we started off and we started growing the business. And the business was growing very nicely. Our meals per day were going up and up and up. And then we started feeling the problems with COVID-19. People started cancelling events, and then the MCO control order came in, and suddenly we couldn't run events. Therefore, we couldn't get any sales. The business stopped dead in the water.
Okay, hang on. I'm just going to stop you there. So basically, their business is sort of like Dahmakan, which is a delivery. They cook the food and they deliver it, right?
It's food delivery of plant-based healthy food. Our target market is people who are overweight, they're obesity, they've got hypertension, perhaps diabetes. These are the people who need to make lifestyle changes. And what makes us different from all the other food delivery companies out there is that we're about transforming you. We're not about giving you good food to eat, though the food is remarkably tasty. I'm a carnivore and I love our food. It's about how do you make the lifestyle change. So it's matched up with coaching to help you keep on the path and the good food to help you deliver the changes that you want to make.
Okay, so were they already making money by the time the pandemic happened, or?
At the start, we got customers. We were sending food out every day, but we weren't sending out enough meals per day.
To break even.
To break even. And so my role was to come in and grow the meals per day.
Okay. So when you came in and you grew it, how many meals was it? And, you know?
We were getting to about, I think it was 30 to 50 meals per day, which was pretty good in just a few weeks. And the food was great, and a lot of it was working out how to improve the sales process, how do we get the value proposition out to people. And the business started growing, and it was growing really quickly, and it was great. I mean, there was a real buzz in the team, and then suddenly it came to a stop.
Like zero?
Yes.
Oh my God. So what did you do?
The CEO, Dr. Sean Kwan, and I we got on a call and said, right, what do we do? And the first thought was, okay, we could use this time period of the shutdown, just think, okay, we'll make the business better, we'll practice our marketing, so we'll do that, and so we're ready. And then it was the thought, well, how much money are we burning? So we're going to be losing 2 months' money, perhaps 3 months' money. And are we ever going to be able to recover that? Will we have enough money to get to full profitability at the end of it? And so we thought, we can't do this. We can't afford this. And I think that's a position a lot of people are in now. And so we said, okay, we've got to change things. And so we started off, and it's like, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? And the problem that we're trying to solve with sort of feeding people healthy food at lunch times when they're at work. Ooh, that's gone. Nobody's at work in the offices. Yes, they're eating home cooked meal. So that problem had gone. So what problem could we solve? And because Dr. Sean's a medical doctor, he was getting feedback from some of his friends in Hospital Sungai Buloh, Hospital KL, saying, we're starving, we're working incredibly hard, and there's just all this crap food in the canteen, we're getting fat, we're getting stressed, we're burning out, can you help? And then we thought, okay, we'll go for a totally different audience. But then we thought, okay, we can't be asking these doctors to pay. They've got too many things to be doing for us to be going in and trying to sell to them. But they're doing something really wonderful for the rakyat. They're really doing something really wonderful for Malaysians. So what happens if we change the monetization? We give the food to the doctors, the nurses, the frontline staff for free. Who else would? And I think it was me who said, okay, let's go onto one of the donation platforms, Just Giving or something like that. We use Simply Giving in the end, and see, will people support our doctors? And we got this absolutely massive response. We've raised over 100,000 ringgit now, and every day we're sending out to doctors and frontline staff 300 to 500 meals. And it's not just meals. These are meals that are designed to boost people's immune systems, to keep them fit and healthy. So it's not just feeding the doctors, but it's also helping them to stay strong, to help them to fight off the infection, because we've heard all these stories about not enough protective masks, etc. Can't do anything about that, but I can help boost their immune systems so that they can be there looking after us, looking after our loved ones for that much longer. And that is a huge moral impact as well as a physical impact for the doctors, because they know that people love them, people care about them. And some of them saying it just brings tears to our eyes that people really care about what we're doing. I mean, in India, doctors are being ostracized because people fear that they've got COVID-19. They're being hated by people as much as they're fighting to save people. Whereas in Malaysia, we're sending this really strong message to the people on the front line. And that has been why our pivot has been so successful, because we are giving a message of hope. We're saying, we're not accepting this. We are going to make a difference, and I think people are really responding to, let's make a difference. Let's fight back against COVID-19 right now.
Okay, good job, Malaysia. So Malaysians, that is. So how did you get the message out there? And I'm assuming Simply Giving is like a GoFundMe platform here in Malaysia.
Yes. Yeah, we use Simply Giving because we looked at a number of them, and it allowed people to donate in Ringgit Malaysia. Yeah, so we didn't have to say, pay in dollars, land, and then people think, it's a big problem. Yeah, so we got people to pay in ringgit, so they knew exactly how much that they were contributing. And then we started launching on Facebook, telling people what we're doing, and then daily updates with videos. We had a video appeal from Dr. Sean. And then very much it was because we're a small startup, we didn't have a big email list. And it was reaching out through our WhatsApp network and saying, hey guys, this is what we're doing. We reached out to friends also in the religious and the caring communities, and I mean, it's been amazing. We've had a lot of the Christian communities and the Buddhist communities and the Muslim communities all sharing the word, and it's very much a sort of pan-religious response to this, and they've been amazing at helping us reach out as we try and do good.
So this is what we really need, isn't it? So let's break it down first. Was there any major difference, or what was the most impactful actions you took on the onset of outbreak, so that people who are watching will be able to learn and do something about it? What kind of distinguished you? What would you say was the most impactful action you took?
I think it was taking the pause. It was pausing, it was slowing down, and it was an acknowledgement that, yes, this could be really bad if we're stupid and if we do nothing, if we pretend everything is going to be the same. And then it was sitting down, and there's a triangle that works really well, and it's we ask the question, okay, what problem are you solving? Who are you solving it for? How do you solve the problem? And why are people going to pay for your solution? And these 4 questions, I think, if there's anything that you take out of this talk today, is answer these questions so you know very clearly what your business is the problem it's solving before. Yes, so 3 months ago, POPCON was solving the problem of people not being able to have an impact on social media. How were you solving it? You were running events.
Right.
Suddenly, the how you solve the problem, gone. Yeah, and this is why we're online today.
Yes.
So you pivoted your business model. You looked at what is the problem we're solving. That's still valid. Who are we solving the problem for? That's still valid. How is a problem, and maybe why. Now, why should people pay you? Maybe a problem, may not be a problem. I haven't thought about that too much. And so going through and asking these 4 questions about your business, which of these have broken now? And then it's okay, so if in the case of Savor of Life, what is the problem had failed, who the problem had failed, and why should people pay us had failed. So we came up with 3 new answers. And we went out and we were really lucky. The first answer that we tried worked.
Right. Okay.
And honestly, that answer is going to help us for 2 months, 3 months, until the end of COVID. Then why would people want to give money to free food to doctors? Because they get paid by the government, and all that. So we need to pivot again, and we've got the next pivot, and tomorrow we're going to start working on that, and it's going to launch next Friday, and that's going to lift us up, and it's going to be something entirely different because it's looking at the problem that your customers have got. Go back, what is the problem?
So what I think is also beautiful about this, while you're solving that problem, you also got media attention and free marketing, if you like, on WhatsApp. So people now know the brand Savor of Life. I would not have known if you did not WhatsApp me that this is what you were doing, right?
And it's been absolutely brilliant for that. But I have to say, I mean, a lot of the time you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable because you say, yes, I'm doing something good, I'm promoting this for the doctors and for good that we're going, but I'm also aware that yes, we are going to be getting some commercial benefit from it, and we had several deep conversations inside the business. Okay, how do we make sure that we're being fair? How do we make sure that we're not betraying the trust of the donors? How do we make sure that we're doing the right thing all the way through? And that was really, really important to us. And honestly, for me, I've spent all my life doing capitalist type things, going after the profit motive, and doing this where we're focused on the impact, do right first, and then assume that the profit is going to come after that. That is absolutely wonderful place to be driven by your values at this time, because it makes a huge difference to how people see you and judge you.
Okay, so are we allowed to know what you're pivoting to next week, Friday?
I'd rather not. I'm not going to give any specific details, but I think what we can say is when we want to make change, and this talk is all about how do we make change. It's very easy to say we're going to make change, and the number of times we've had a New Year's resolution, and after 3 weeks I'm back on the cigarettes or drinking the beer or giving up on the gym membership, we fail.
Okay, got it.
We haven't prepared. So how do we give the people the strength to keep on making the change? And that's where we go.
Nina.
Okay.
Nina. Okay, from time to time, I'm going to be putting in questions and also some comments from the audience.
Sure.
So Aliza Kim said something about, she posted a comment. It's kind of cool that Savor is one letter away from the word savior. Savior of the nutritional needs of our frontliners. So, anything to say to that? Did you come up with that name, or how?
I didn't come up with the name. I mean, it's basically it is a little bit of a pun and play on words, because you've got savor, the taste of the food, and to us the taste of the food is really, really important, because if plant-based foods don't taste good, a lot of people like me who like our meat aren't going to do it, and I've been eating it for the last 2 weeks on the lockdown special. So we get food for the whole family twice a day, which means we don't have to worry about cooking. It makes it really easy.
Okay, I have to interrupt you there.
Yeah.
So because you say it's plant-based, that means it's vegetarian, right?
There's a distinction. So plant-based, so people who are vegetarian or vegan are often doing it because of the environment or for animals. Yes. So vegan food or vegetarian food can really be quite unhealthy. Think about deep fried okra or stuff like that. Whereas plant-based is all about creating health in the people who eat it. So yes, it is technically, one way you could look at it is vegan, but it's specifically designed to be reducing your body fat, helping you reduce your cholesterol, your visceral fat, helping you get rid of that little bit of belly or your moobs in the case of middle-aged men like me.
And boobs. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how much is it? Because people are probably wondering, and they probably want to eat out, and it's delivered to you.
It's delivered to us. So at the moment, our lockdown special, which is 2 weeks, 2 meals a day for the whole family. So sort of 10 deliveries over Monday to Friday. That starts at 8 ringgit 43 per person per meal.
That's really good.
It's incredibly good value, and honestly, I mean, I think we do need to reduce our portion sizes, because I'm a big Matsale and I can't finish it.
Wow.
It's super,
okay,
super,
I
super
trust
tasty.
you. If it's coming from Matsale, I trust you. Okay.
The food looks good, though. I'm posting out the food to the audience. I'm posting it up. I'm putting it up. Yeah.
It looks good.
It looks really good. I'm like.
Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put the link in the comment section below if you guys want to donate to Savor of Life to help our frontliners, our doctors who need nutritious food during this time. But we'll also put the link of the website of Savor of Life so that you know where to order your next meal.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving along, let's talk about business model, right? Can you share with us a little bit more about the business model? Because, I mean, a lot of people watching, they'll probably be thinking, that works because they produce meal or they do this. But how do other businesses out there, does this apply to them? And how can they benefit from this?
I think one of the big problems that most people have, and this is why I say I help blind people see, is that when you're doing the same thing for a long time, you just see in a tunnel vision, you just see, this is the way that we do things, this is the way that things can work, and then this is the only way that we can do things. And given that we're going through so much change at the moment, you have to look at things differently, because pretty much every business model has a lifespan. It grows, it matures, and then it dies. So if you look at somebody like Kodak, for 100 years it made camera film, and it was incredibly good at it. It knew that camera film was going to die. It was the first people to make digital cameras in 1976. It was the leader in selling digital cameras in 2003, but it didn't know much about consumer electronics, and other people came in, and it filed for bankruptcy in, I think, 2011. So you need to change, and what we need to do is look at your business model. How can you change? And that can be very hard to see. Okay,
so can we have a look at the business model now? I mean,
I'm putting it up.
Dennis, how often should companies be doing this? Because we don't want to be another Nokia or another Kodak kind of thing, right?
That's right. So the business model, I can't see it up on the screen, but it's a triangle.
Yep.
And this is a very, very simple business model. It's based on the 4 questions that I mentioned before. Yep. What is the problem? Who has the problem? How do you solve the problem? And why should somebody pay you for it? And that, for you as a company, comes down to the top triangle is, what is your value proposition? Yeah, what are you offering? What is your promise to the customer? What is your brand about? On the right-hand side, you're looking at the value chain. How do you create and deliver the value to your customer? And that can include the marketing, it can include the manufacturing. In a bricks and mortar retail shop, that can include the shop, the physical premises. For an electricity company like TNB, that's the power plant. And then why should people pay you? That can be they pay you for services. It could be they pay you on a subscription. It could be that, like the Savor of Life, you get something for free and then somebody else pays. It could be like Google's business model, where you get the product for free and then Google sells your information to somebody else. So you are the product. So this is the way that we look at it. And there are much more complicated business models, the way of looking at it, but this is a really simple way. And then you say, okay, so if I look at my value chain, what can I change? If I've got a bricks and mortar business, can I go online? If I don't go online, what else could I do? Could I do events? Could I do pop-up shops? Are there different ways of doing it? Could I move up the value chain and become a distributor? Could I go and do something a bit like so? Okay, I've got a bricks and mortar shop that everybody loves. My customers tell me that it's amazing. Could I go like Herbalife or Amway, get rid of the physical shop and go onto a direct selling model? Most of these ideas for your particular business aren't going to work. They're going to sound like rubbish. But the point is to start thinking about them and say, what if I did that? And then that starts uncracking the way that you see the world. It starts loosening up your mental processes. And a lot of the time when I'm sitting in a room with corporates, they start saying, ooh, actually, the best way of doing it with corporates, if this is a little bit too hard, is you sit down and you look at your competitors. You look at your top 3 competitors and you say, how do they do it? Yeah, because you don't have the same emotional engagement with it, because it's not your business. You can be a bit more dispassionate. What is their business? So you do it for them. And then you look at, a lot of the time you look at it, say, all of our competitors have got the same business model as we have. Oh, so we're just going to be having the same problems as we have. Any market share that we want to get, we're going to be fighting tooth and nail. So we're just going to be seen in decreasing markets. It's a horrible place to be. And then they say, aha, okay, we've got to do something different. Then they start thinking, right, let's think of out of the box. Let's think differently. Let's see where we can go. That's what Uber did when it came to the taxi industry. And you look at the public cab in KL. How much were they making a year? 20 million ringgit, 50 million ringgit? It wasn't very much. Yeah, and then you look at the business that Uber has done. Doing exactly this business, reimagining the business model, and they've created a business that worth, 50 billion, 60 billion US dollars, and not even ringgit. So 200 or 300 billion ringgit Malaysia. Yeah, this is the power of it. Looking at the business model lets you create companies that are 10, 100 times more valuable, whereas just changing your prices just is going to alter your sales by 5-10%, your margins by a couple of percent. So sometime like this, when all the big companies are just bidding hammered, yeah, you might think you're in pain, but what about Nestle? What about Petronas? What about TNB? What is the pain that they're suffering? Yeah, they're retrenching. That's opening up big chunks of the market for you to jump in and for you to be clever, for you to be brave and go and steal that money that they used to have, and you can take it and you can get it. And this is the kind of time when we see new businesses coming up and becoming multi-billion-dollar entities, and the old big ones just leaving, going away, dying, and becoming a shadow of themselves because they don't have the balls, they don't have the guts to change who they are, what they do, because they think, I'm an electricity company, I always sell electricity in this way, this is who I am, I'm not going to change, and they die.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so speaking about that, the natural thing for people to do during this time is, because of the fear and whatnot, it's to be safe and to cut back on costs and marketing, especially cost and marketing. Especially, what would be your advice to brands with respect to planning for the future in the midst of uncharted waters, regardless of whether they're offline or online?
I think the first advice is just to pause. Take a couple of days to think about it, because I mean, in the UK, 60% of small businesses have less than 3 months cash, but most of them have got more than a month. So you can take a day or so to sit and plan, to get your management team in, bounce ideas around. The second thing is to say, okay, what is going to be the new normal? we're not going to go back to the way it was. Yeah, I was talking to a consultant with the World Bank this morning, and she was saying education is never going to be the same with 1 billion children having been taught online by video this last week. That's broken barriers. Education is never going to be the same. So whatever you're doing, it's not going to go back to the way it was. You need to realize that. And then you come up with three things. Okay, you say, what happens if it gets to being close to the way that it was? Yeah? What happens if it's a fair way away from where it was? And what happens in an extreme situation? And come up with 3 basic plans. What's going to happen in quarter 1 if it's mild, medium or severe? What's going to happen in quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4? And then you've got 3 scenarios where you've got an idea of what you're going to do and what's going to happen. Because I think a lot of the business owners I've been talking to this week on LinkedIn, they've been saying, okay, I've got to get cash from the bank. And okay, we've got a product that's going to help them get cash from the bank by modeling the business, but they're going to get cash from the bank based on going back to the old way of doing things. So the cash is going to be too little, too much, the wrong type, with the wrong terms. And so in 6 to 12 months time, for a lot of them, they're going to be defaulting on their loans and the business is going to be going bankrupt because they haven't looked forward and tried to imagine what the new reality could look like. And because they don't know what the new reality could look like, they haven't come up with the right scenarios and they haven't then made the right plans. I mean, honestly, none of us know. Yeah, none of us have got any idea what is happening here. And the world is so utterly destroyed. I mean, World War I is the closest, but that happened in slow motion compared to this. Yeah. So you've got to come out of your comfort zone and say, how's it going to be different? And if you don't come out of your comfort zone and be prepared to live in a very uncomfortable world where, as a doctor, I mean, I had a big argument with my wife's gynecologist saying, you've got to start doing consultations by Zoom. Because if you don't, we're not going to use you. Because why should my wife go out, get stopped by 3 times with police on the way there to see you, wait an hour and a half and then come back home? Why can't she just wait at home and when you're ready, you have a Zoom call and you do a lot of the diagnosis and coaching? Yeah. So if she doesn't change, she's going to lose business. And this is the same for so many industries. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Okay, so I think that's all the time we have for. Is that true?
I think we can have another 8 minutes max.
Okay, got it. So let's go into the rapid business fire round with Dennis.
Yeah, let's do that.
3 questions. Are you ready, Dennis?
Okay.
So we're going to ask you a series of questions and you got to be quick, okay?
Okay.
Can do? All right, so what are some of the do's and don'ts for businesses during this time?
Okay, firstly, don't panic. Yeah, it's very, very simple. Don't panic. One of my customers cancelled a lease, told the landlord we're cancelling, and then the landlord sort of got really upset and started a winding up petition. He's like, no, just don't panic and do stuff like that off the. Think things through. You've got a few days, a week to think things through. Secondly, see it as an opportunity. Yeah. If you see things as a disaster, it is going to be a disaster. Yeah. If you think that you can, you can. If you think that you can't, you can't. So change the mindset. See this as the business opportunity as a lifetime. So many people are going to become billionaires because of this, and they're going to become billionaires in the right way by being good to people, by being generous to people, and by delivering amazing value. Those are the big do's and don'ts.
I was just doing some reading yesterday, and then I also found out that there's a lot of businesses during the Great Depression that was created, right? And I was surprised that even Monopoly, the board game, was actually one of those businesses that was thriving. Right? I think there's opportunity everywhere, isn't it?
There's opportunity everywhere, and especially during a recession. Bill Gates actually started Microsoft during a depression.
Recession.
Recession.
Yes.
Not the Great Depression. Okay, got it. And even Kellogg's is where it is today because they took opportunity to advertise during, I think that was the Great Depression, right? If I'm not mistaken. Okay.
There's less competition. People are desperate.
True. No?
Create a great value proposition. Vroom, you've got a free runway for a long time.
Okay, cool. So what are the 3 things businesses can do now to take charge of their situation? They're probably just panicking and not coming down and not thinking about things. So what are the 3 things that we can do now as a business to take charge of our situation?
Okay. First thing, run through the process I described earlier, reviewing your business model. Yeah? Mm-hmm. What is the problem? Who are the people that you're solving it from? How do you solve it? Why should they give you any money? If any of those are broken, start brainstorming and testing to see what you can do differently to solve a real problem for people who've got the money. Secondly, 6 million people went unemployed last week in America. I don't know what the figures are in Malaysia this week, but America is going to have 20 or 30 million people unemployed in a month. That is as bad as the Great Depression. Yeah, that's an opportunity because you can hire great people cheap. A lot of great people are being let go right now, and you can say, with the balls, you can say, right, okay, you're a marketing manager who's being paid 50,000 a month. You can say, I can give you 10,000 a month and a share of sales. Yeah, and you can buy somebody 4 or 5 times what you'd normally be able to afford because they haven't got the opportunity, the chance. They're desperate.
Okay.
Secondly, hire more. Thirdly, hire more or spend more on marketing and sales. Yeah. Don't just keep on flogging a dead horse. If whatever you've got is not selling, it's not connecting with the market, don't spend money on there because you're in a horrible red market of competition. Spend your time to think of what value have I got. When you see the opportunity, you just ram down it because you've got something good, and now marketing more than ever is going to be cheap. Attention is going to be, people are going to give you their attention because they need solutions. But it comes back down to, what is the problem? Have people got a really painful problem, and are they prepared to pay for it? If none of those, don't spend your marketing dollars. If they do, if they're coming to you and saying this is great, like they are for Savor of Life, we're getting people saying this food is amazing, then we spend the marketing dollars to push it out there.
Okay, last but not least, I think you mentioned this already. You said that businesses will forever be changed because of this pandemic and work from home experience. How?
We're seeing a whole liquidity crisis, yeah? Businesses aren't spending money, people aren't spending money, everything's slowing down. Thousands, millions of businesses around the world are going to go bust. Millions of people are going to be out of the job. So supply chains are going to be disrupted. From my point of view, this for Malaysia, it is going to be as significant as independence was, the change from British rule to Malaysians ruling Malaysians, as should have happened, or possibly even when the British brought in the Chinese and the Indians, and that disrupted for good or bad what Malaysia was like. It changed our nation utterly. And I think that coronavirus is going to be changing Malaysia in massive ways, the rest of the world as well. So now it's thinking, what does this mean for me? What does this mean for my business? What does it mean for Malaysia and Malaysians? And how can we go forward and make the world better for Malaysians? And I think this is a great opportunity for Malaysian businesses to really reach out onto the world stage and bring us up all the league tables that our government loves so much.
Okay, awesome. I think that's all the time we have for today. Do we have any questions though?
So far, everyone is saying hi. You have a lot of your fans out here. Nisa Shahagudin said hello to you.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah. There's quite a lot of them. But this is going to be recorded as well. So if they miss the live session, of course they can always go back to the recording afterwards, right?
Okay. So if businesses wanted to reach out to you, to have a chat, how do they get in touch with you? Is it on your LinkedIn profile?
On my LinkedIn profile, I'm Denis Oakley-Innovation.
We'll put the link as well. Yeah.
Yeah. They can also email me, WhatsApp me. Please don't call me. It's just a WhatsApp message because I seem to spend about 90% of my day on the phone at the moment, sort of answering questions. And honestly, just send me a question. If you've got a problem, if you're struggling, if you're stressed, if you're worried about things, send me a question. I may be able to help. I may not be able to help. but I can at least point you in the right direction, because I spent the last 20 years of my life thinking about how to help businesses change when everything changes. So
you're like the go-to crisis guy.
Yeah, I agree.
The fixer, right? You know, in Pulp Fiction, when shit hits the fan, they bring in Harvey Keitel, right? So you are like Harvey Keitel to businesses.
Yes.
Yes.
I help them see what the problem is, and I help get them in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I think in many ways I give people hope, because I see a path forward. I see that it's not all doom and gloom. I lay out what the hope is, and how I show them how that they can do it. And when people can see a path, most people are incredibly competent. They're incredibly capable. And when you have hope, when you have confidence, you can get out there and do it yourself. So for a lot of people that I talk to, a 30, 40, 50-minute conversation can be all that they need to get on the way. And that is one of the best things about this. It's like, I'm a good guy. I'm doing good things because I'm helping people make a real change to their families, to their employees, to their customers, when without me, if they hadn't talked to me, things could have got really, really grim. And I don't want that for anybody.
Dennis, I know we are getting out of time, but because you were sharing this before we went live just now about I help blind people see. There's a story behind that. Are you willing to share about that?
Yeah, sure. So my wife is a beautiful Turkish girl. She's given me three amazing kids, and she started work at age 13 and has worked incredibly hard over the years. But she went blind at 41 with double cataracts, and she didn't realise what was happening. But every day it was getting harder and harder to work, and she was literally like this. And eventually I said, "Are you going to see the optician or what?" And she said, "Oh, that's a good idea." And so we went and saw the optician, and that led to the surgeon sort of getting the scalpel and sort of just doing things to her eye. And she was absolutely terrified of this. She did not want this to happen. And we went out, and I got a video of her saying this. We went out and we were driving back from the doctor on the out by Bukit Gasing, and she'd had one eye done, and she said, "Wow, I can see. The sky is blue. I can see the trees. The trees have got green leaves." And she was like a small child. I mean, just all the shit that we have as adults just dropped away, and there was this sense of wonder in her voice, and it connected with me over the next days and weeks as I thought about the transformation that she had had. That suddenly she could see the world as it was again. There was so much colour, so much hope, so much optimism in her life, because we'd been able to make herself see. And I realised that is very much what I do for businessmen. Forget about the models, the statistics, the scenario planning. They're all tools to help you see a new future, a new possibility, and start reaching out to it with the confidence, with the passion, with the energy that you had when you first started your business. You don't need to be beaten up and broken down and crushed by this. There is another way, and that is seeing the hope, seeing the future, and going out and just reaching for it and getting it.
All right. Thank you, Dennis. So that is why we got Dennis as our guest today, because we want you guys to get hope. You know, it's not just all doom and gloom, as Dennis says. Okay, so I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today.
Yep.
And if I were to summarize today's episode, what I'm getting is, if you want to survive, or rather stay ahead of this pandemic, you need to, number one, don't panic, pause, have a look at your business, and use Dennis's business model to relook at things, reevaluate, and be willing to change, because change is going to happen whether you like it or not. We're going to be coming out. We are already living in a completely new world as we're speaking. Okay, so thank you so much, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis.
Welcome, guys.
Yeah, okay. This one deserves a round of applause, right?
Yeah. Can we try that sound thing that we have?
Yeah, that's the one. Right? We did that.
Oh, I'm so sorry, I couldn't hear it. Okay, so thank you so much, Dennis, for a super insightful session. We will see you soon, and you owe me like a carnivore's meal, Turkish food, I think. So we'll catch up.
Definitely.
The movement constraint kind of thing. So bye.
Bye.
And with that, Popcorners, hope you guys have learned a lot. If not, at least be inspired with what Dennis had to share. Again, we're going to be sharing Dennis's details down below. Moving forward, please give us a like. Follow us on all our social media. We will also be posting this video on YouTube and LinkedIn as well.
Yep.
And if you guys would like more updates and see more videos like this, be sure to follow us on the Facebook group, which is Popcorn Academy. We help brands pop online. As well as our LinkedIn page, POPCONfest. And we're going to be coming up with more videos. If you guys would like to know, if you guys would like to see more videos with certain topics, please give us a comment. Or if you want to hear from certain speakers, please link down below or give us the feedback so that we know who to talk to. Okay?
We'll figure a way out. Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, we'll figure a way out. Now, next week, I think we're going to speak to more businesses that have pivoted. We're going to hear directly from them, and also some business who did not pivot, but then they're doing stuff that can also help them when they leave. When we come out of these MCO. And also how to de-stress during this situation, because sometimes you don't want to panic, but your mind is so active and you don't know how to calm down. So we're going to bring in an expert on that. Okay, so I'm Nina signing off.
I'm Amin, and you have been Popcorn, right? Okay, guys, thank you so much. The live session, we're just gonna end it right here. We'll see you again next time, right?
All right, see ya.
See ya, bye.
Popcorn.